All right, team. So, let's talk about if it is possible to build muscle and drop fat at the same time. I get asked this more than any other question ever in my career as a personal trainer or online coach. So, I honestly believe that this is the most common goal among everybody in the fitness industry or anyone looking to get in shape. Men always want bigger and leaner, and females generally always want to be toned with more definition. But is it actually possible to do both at the same time? Of course it is. It is very possible to build muscle and drop fat at the same time. It is not easy to do at all. It is an amazing result when it happens, but yes, it is definitely possible. However, do I recommend building muscle and dropping body fat at the same time as your number one primary goal? No, I do not. It is very hard for me to try and explain how to build muscle and drop fat at the same time, but I am going to do my best. I'm also going to explain why it's not the best idea to try and build muscle and drop body fat at the same time as well. So, the way you actually build muscle in general is by breaking down your muscles in the gym and building them back bigger and stronger through rest and correct nutrition. You would have heard me say before that you are not growing when you are training, you are growing when you're actually resting and eating. That part is very, very true. You put in the hard work in the gym, you come home, eat, and that's how you grow. Before you start a workout, your muscles are filled with glycogen, they're full, they're big, and they're hard. At the gym, let's say we're training biceps, for example, you do rep after rep, set after set, until your muscles are completely broken down, torn apart, and absolutely depleted of glycogen. So at the end of your workout, your muscles are completely ripped apart, they're empty, ready to absorb like a sponge anything that you put into your body, because your body doesn't like your muscles being broken down. That's why you're sore. As we know, our body self-heals. Anytime we have an injury or a cut or whatever, our body works its magic and it heals us. It is exactly the same for our muscles. We break them down in the gym. The body doesn't want broken down muscles, so it's going to do everything it can to repair them and build them back bigger and stronger. So after a workout, we consume a protein shake. The reason we have a shake post-workout is because the protein is already broken down into little particles, and the protein is actually going to be absorbed very, very quickly. If you were to eat, let's say, a chicken breast post-workout, your body still has to break that down, digest it, and send the nutrients to where they need to go. So it takes a little bit longer. So after the gym, we have a protein shake with no carbs. The reason we have no carbs is because at the end of a workout, your growth hormone levels are at the absolute peak. And once we consume carbohydrates, they will spike our body's the insulin levels. It spikes the body's insulin levels. So when the insulin's released into the body, it shuts down our body's natural growth hormone production. They're like worst enemies. So I personally only like to consume protein immediately after a workout for that reason, along with carbs, and that reason alone. A lot of people believe that insulin is more of an anabolic hormone than growth hormone, which is a very fair argument, but the way I see it is, why not have the best of both worlds? So if you have your protein shake immediately after your workout, those proteins are going to get sucked straight into the muscles whilst your body's growth hormone levels are being released at their absolute peak. Then about 30 minutes to an hour later, I would consume a large amount of lean meat, a heap of like a white rice to get that insulin spike and to shuttle the nutrients into the muscles whilst they're still broken down. You can have carbs in your post-workout shake. It's definitely not the wrong thing to do, but from my personal experience and what works best for me, I don't like to. After our workout, our muscles are completely broken down and empty and ready to absorb anything you consume because they want to repair and get back to functioning at their best. The more you break your muscles down in a workout, the better it is for you. The more you break them down, the more they need to recover and the bigger they're going to grow. The way you actually build muscle is once they are completely broken down and you eat, all the food you are consuming gets sucked into the broken down muscle and it builds back bigger and stronger, which is exactly what we want. Combine the food with adequate amounts of rest, about 3 to 6 days the muscle is fully recovered, then you go to the gym and do it all over again for that muscle group. Break down the muscle, eat, rest and grow, and repeat. So now this leads me on to my next part of the topic on how to build muscle whilst minimizing body fat. I want you to picture your muscles as a jug of water, just metaphorically speaking, so you can visualize what's happening inside your body. Before a workout, the jug is full to the brim of water, a nice even full jug. And whilst you are training rep after rep and set after set, the water is representing the glycogen in your muscle and slowly being empty. So the harder you train, the more you break your muscles down, the emptier the jug becomes. So once you've completed your workout, and I'm assuming it was a killer workout, the jug is now empty and your muscle is just trained and now fully depleted of glycogen. In this case, we're going to use food as water to represent filling up the jug. So instead of putting water back in the jug, we're filling it up with food, just metaphorically, remember? Now after our workout, we consume our post-workout shake and it fills the jug up a little bit, just a little. After we consume that, our high GI carbohydrates and the lean meat protein that fills up the jug some more. Then you have your next meal and that will fill the jug up even more, and so on and so on. So let's fast forward to your last meal of the day, and with your last meal you fill the jug to the very top again, and that's how you maximize your muscle growth. You fully deplete your muscles in your workout, break them down as much as you can, tear them apart. The harder you train, the more you'll break them down. Then you eat, and fill them back up till all the glycogen in the muscle has been fully replenished. Repeat this for weeks to months, and you will get some serious progress in building muscle. However, if you eat, and let's say after your second meal of the day, the jug of water, being your muscles, can't hold any more water, so it spills over. You ate too much food this time. Spilling over is actually the correct terminology, and that's how you put on body fat, because you're in excess calories then. So after your workout, you eat, but it will eventually get to a point where your muscles cannot absorb any more food. Your muscles have completely filled back up, and that extra food is now going to be stored as fat. Unfortunately for us, we cannot see inside our muscles, so we've got absolutely no idea how much food our muscles can absorb after a workout, so you don't actually know when you're spilling over. So one of the most common problems people have when trying to build muscle is that building muscle comes with gaining a lot of body fat. However, once again, there is a way around this, and it makes perfect sense logically. Even though you can't physically see what's going on inside the body, you can still play it smart and use common sense to have a good understanding of what's going on without actually knowing. Call it an educated guess. Okay? So after you finish watching this video, I want you to go back and watch my other video called How to Build Muscle Through Dieting Correctly, because that takes you through the exact process on how to build muscle whilst minimizing body fat. I don't know the actual correct statistic for what I'm about to say. I'm just going off what I believe to be correct and my perception, as everybody is a little bit different, okay? I do believe if your diet and training is spot on, you can put on anywhere between 300 and 700, maybe even 800 grams if you're lucky, of lean muscle mass in 1 week. Now that's 800 grams is the absolute extreme. That's very lucky, okay? That is if you're full on nail that week with your training and your diet and you get absolutely everything perfect, okay? So 300 to 800 grams of muscle in 1 week without putting on fat, that is just pure muscle we're talking. So now instead of being able to actually see inside the muscle in our body, this is where the scales come into it. So you want to get your body weight to stabilize on a certain amount of food, like we explained in some of the other videos. So what that means is you're eating the same amount of food for 2 or 3 weeks and your body weight is pretty much staying exactly as it is. It's not going up and it's not coming down on that particular daily intake of food. You are training hard, breaking the muscles down, eating the same amount of food on a daily basis, and your weight is not changing. Okay, that's a good plateau. Right then at this point, you know your body can handle that amount of food and you're not going to be putting on any fat, because if you were putting on fat, your weight would be going up and not staying the same, okay? It'd be either going up or coming down. So the week after you've gotten your body weight to stabilize on a certain amount of food, you would increase your carbohydrates a little. After the carb increase, let's say your body weight went up 300 grams. Perfect result. So you know that that's a realistic amount of muscle you have just put on in a 1 week period. You haven't spilled over too much out of the jug, spilled over the jug, and you are growing. So the week after you increase your carbs again, then you put on, say, 500 grams. Perfect again. So you're growing with very little spillover. There may be a little bit of fat, but I'm tipping majority of it is going to be muscle, because you're training so hard in the gym, really breaking those muscles down and eating the right food at the right time. The week after that, you increase your carbs again, and this time you put on 1 kilogram, which is both a good result and a bad result at the same time. It is highly likely you have built some muscle, but highly likely you've put on a little body fat as well, okay? Which is fine. When it does come time to cut and get lean, it's very easy to get rid of if you put in the work. Hard work, yes, but the process is very simple. So do you understand where I'm coming from? You want to get your body to use a certain amount of food, let your body weight stabilize, and gradually increase your carbs at a rate your body can handle without putting on crazy amounts of weight or body fat. Remember, everybody is going to be that little bit different, okay? This is the correct and 100% guaranteed the most effective process to build muscle whilst minimizing body fat. I did say I was going to teach you how to build muscle and lose fat at the same time, and once again, this makes perfectly good sense when you think of it logically. Put logic, common sense, and discipline all together, and you can't go wrong. It really is so simple. So we break the muscles down as much as we possibly can during our workouts, then we eat till our muscles are filled back up, and we want to fill them right back up so we're maximizing muscle growth without too much spillover. So if you're only half filling them up, and you're only getting half the results and half the recovery, which means only half the growth. You always want your muscles to be full to the brim and replenished so that after we eat, our muscles fill back up, but this time we haven't eaten a little too much, not on purpose, just because we don't actually know how much we can eat. We're just going off what the weight on the scales each week is saying. So now we ate too much and our muscles cannot absorb any more food. They're completely full and we spilled over, and that is now going to be stored as fat. The only way you can get rid of that spilled over fat is to burn it off, and this is where cardio comes into the equation. Everybody's favorite activity. Not. It's definitely not mine. Remember, all food adds up to be a certain amount of calories, so we eat till our muscles are completely restored, which will maximize muscle recovery and therefore maximize muscle growth, and will burn any spillover with the cardio. So each day we break our muscles down, we eat to build them back bigger and stronger, we completely replenish glycogen in the muscle, and we do 30 minutes to an hour's cardio every day to ensure that the spillover is burnt off. Okay? Your muscles are going to get the nutrients from the food that we've consumed, but our bodies are not getting the calories from the food because we burn it off with cardio. Now let's get back to the week where you put on 1 kilogram from the increase in carbs. Let's say you added 45 minutes of cardio each day for that entire week. You would not put on 1 kilogram this time round. You might only put on 500 grams because of the cardio. You know that it's going to be pure muscle because you have burnt off any of the spillover with the cardio. Now it's highly likely, because you are training so hard and getting your cardio done, you will not only be building muscle, but you will be dropping fat at the same time. Even if you are not dropping fat, you're going to appear a lot leaner because more muscle makes you look leaner. The skin gets a bit tighter, that layer of fat between the muscle and the skin gets that tiny bit thinner. The skin gets tighter, you look a bit bigger and fuller, okay? I did mention earlier that I don't recommend to try and build muscle and drop fat at the same time. It does take longer, and it is a lot of hard work on a day-to-day basis, okay? So seriously, who wants to be doing 45 minutes to an hour's cardio every day of their life, plus an hour's workout, plus eating 6 to 7 to 8 times a day? Definitely not me. I always recommend getting lean before having an off season. That makes a huge difference in terms of your motivation and your enjoyment in the gym. After you finish watching this video, I want you to go back through my video gallery and watch the video called How to Lose Fat Through Dieting Correctly, and I will take you through the process of how to get lean whilst maintaining all of your muscle mass as well, or as much as possible. If you're already carrying a little bit of body fat and you start your off season and you put on even more fat, you're going to be extremely disheartened, and it's going to be very hard to work to get it all off. When you are lean, you visually look better in the mirror, you see more definition in your muscles, and when you're working out, is a much better experience than going to the gym carrying excess body fat. Okay, it's definitely not as motivating. So no matter what position you're in terms of your training, get lean first, get rid of all the fat first, because it will give you a good understanding of where you are actually at in terms of how much muscle you have. Once you've gotten nice and lean, I would say at around 10% body fat or below, you have earned the right to have a proper off season. Commit to growing for 16 weeks, train as hard as you can, really break those muscles down to the point you're in pain, they feel like they're on fire. Training intensity is so important when it comes to putting on size. Train like an animal, really destroy your muscles and do what I said earlier. Each week you need to watch the scales. You want to be going up anywhere from 300 to 800 grams per week. Focus all your efforts on building muscle and really enjoy the process of getting big. I promise, if you spend 16 weeks focusing all of your energy on getting lean first, getting rid of all your fat, then you spend 16 weeks focusing all your efforts on putting on as much size as you can while staying as lean as possible, you'll see so much more progress doing a 16-week cut and then a 16-week bulk than if you did 32 weeks of trying to build muscle and drop fat at the same time. You really got to be smart about it. People who try to do too many things at once don't have clear goals and generally look in the same year round, make no significant progress, and this is the same as an 8-week cut, an 8-week bulk. You're not doing it for a long enough time to really notice a significant difference. So you're just going back and forth, and will pretty much stay the same. It will just be minor changes each way. So once you've done a proper cut and then completed a proper bulk, you just continuously repeat the cycle as I've said in other videos. You cut, then you bulk, and so on. That's how you continually make progress and improve your physique. Every time you do a cut, you should have noticeably more muscle mass due to your off season, and you're going to look better every time you do it. Yes, I do know it's a slow process and it does take a lot of time, but you need to enjoy it, focus on the positives, focus on what you do have, and be excited for where you're heading. Can you imagine how good you're going to look in a year's time if you started the correct progress today? And you should be excited because you have literally the rest of your life to improve on your physique. It's a never-ending journey. Once you start seeing results, you will get absolutely hooked. You will never look back. Excellent, guys. Happy muscle building, happy body fat cutting. Let's talk again soon. Thanks. Bye.